Hello and welcome. This is Betty with Betty Frank's Art, and I am super happy that you're here with me today. I am working on 10 by 10 inch with 2 inches on the side on cradled wood panel, and this is by Cheap Joe's. If you go to cheapjoes.com, you will find them there. I love these because they are super chunky, and I love that there are 2 inches on the side, which gives me an opportunity to create mini paintings on each side of this piece. I'm starting off here with my usual mark making. This is mark making that is not going to show up later, and I get a lot of folks asking me, why do I do this? The primary reason I do this is, well, there's several. One is to obliterate the white that is staring back at me. And by the way, the white is because I had put down a layer of gesso on the wood. So I primed it, so to speak, so that I can paint on it. So the mark making is to get rid of all that white staring back at me, because often I'll look at this and think, how do I start? Where do I start? And so that's my way of just, getting some marks down and getting started. The other thing I love about it is because it gets my hands in the motion of creating. So it's kind of like a warm-up exercise. You start moving around, you start using that muscle memory to start making marks. And then the last reason is because I just love the freedom of making scribbles, of making my own marks, even though they're not going to be seen later. Then I like to come in with black or a mix of black. Sometimes it's just pure black. Sometimes I like to mix several colors together to make a more complex black color. And just there I put on some lotion because it really helps with being able to wash my hands afterwards if I get some paint on it. The paint comes off really easily with lotion. So any kind of lotion, doesn't have to be anything fancy. Had some issues here with my squeeze bottle. Sometimes if I don't use it in a while, it kind of gets stuck and dry. I get some dried paint on there. Now I'm getting some colors out here. I love Nova Color paints, and I will include a link down below to Betty's bundle where you will get 15 of my go-to colors, and that does include black and white as well. So here I put down, I guess I'm forgetting to show you the exact colors I'm using. All right, so I think that top one was quinacridone red, and then I've got up above that yellow, cadmium yellow, and then down below that red, that first red that I put down is Indian yellow, and then I put down some other reds. Sorry. Oh, here we go. It looks like I'm getting them ready for you. Okay, fluorescent magenta was in there as well. All right, so those are some of the colors. And then, okay, it was the pearl red. All right, and then of course I put down the white as well. Now here I showed you, this was raw umber, I believe. I'm looking at yes, I'm at my studio today doing this voiceover recording. So that was raw umber, and the reason I'm using raw umber, if you missed that in one of my previous videos, is someone suggested using this neutral to be able to harmonize my colors. And I thought, wow, that's an interesting idea. I've never thought of that. So I've been using the raw umber, and just a little touch of it mixed in with my colors helps me to harmonize those colors so that they're working together. Now I think I forget to use it initially, and then I go back and remember to start adding some in. And of course it's gonna, because raw umber is a very neutral color, a very earthy color, it's going to dull down some of my colors. See right there, I did remember to just add a little touch of it. But it does dull down my colors, and I love my bright colors. So, I'm kind of like still a bit on the fence about using it, but lately I have been using it pretty regularly, and I'm happy with it, as long as I don't use too much of it. When I use too much, I find that my colors become very neutral and very muddied. So this first layer here, anything goes. Just let's start putting down some colors, making sure that I get all the sides as well. I don't like to ignore them. And I can see I've been thinking a little bit about composition, but not exactly yet. You'll see when I start putting in some bigger marks is where I start introducing more of thoughts around composition. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. You will find a ton of videos that I have put together showing you how I like to create abstract art inspired by my love for fields of flowers. If you are returning and been watching my videos, I am so grateful for you. I appreciate you being here and hanging out and watching another video. Now remember to hit the bell, hit that subscribe button, and give me a thumbs up. I just did that in kind of reverse order. It's usually hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and then hit the bell. If you hit the bell, it'll notify you when I have another video. I try to get these videos out on a pretty consistent basis. I'm not going to tell you I do it every week because honestly, I travel. I can't always get videos put together. And they do take some time to put together. So I don't always can't always squeeze it into my schedule, but I try to be pretty consistent. You're going to get at least 2 of them a month from me, if not more. Now, I mentioned earlier when I start bringing in some larger elements, that's kind of thinking more about composition, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Brought that large circle in the bottom right, and then some larger, what I call my leaves, over on the upper left area. I'm working with just a warm color palette right now, so that means reds, pinks, yellows, oranges. Sticking with just warm colors and not bringing in the cool colors helps me avoid making mud, and it helps me keep my colors bright. Now, I always say nothing wrong with mud. Mud is a great neutral, but I don't like to bring it in until I really want it. So trying to be more intentional about it. So that's why I like to keep my colors separated. Here I'm using, I think that's a rigger, which is, it has very long bristles on it and makes nice fine lines. Okay, I dried it real quick just so I can continue creating. I often run my hands over it, make sure that there isn't like a blob of paint sticking up. If there is, I just kind of knock that down. And I'm coming back in with some mark making. So I've that layer dried, and now this is my opportunity to kind of bring back some of that mark making. Again, I don't know if any of these are going to show up in the final piece, but I like to get started. I like to do it, in between layers as I switch from warms to cools, or even if I just dry a layer and I have an opportunity to add some more. All right, so this time I remember to show you right away. This is the ultramarine blue, which I love this color. It's got a nice purplish color to it when you add some white to it. It's not it's not really a dark blue. Blue-green, a favorite of mine. I just love this color. Along with turquoise. I'm not sure if I use it here. Let's find out. Often I do when I bring in my cool colors. And there we go, phthalo turquoise. These colors are in Betty's bundle. They are my favorites, my go-to. Here I'm just offloading the palette knife that had some paint on it. I like adding marks in here that are not intentional, so offloading my palette knife is a way for me to do that. And now I've got some Indian yellow that we're going to be using. Indian yellow is a warmer yellow as opposed to the cadmium medium yellow, which is a cooler yellow. And back again with the raw umber. If you are trying to figure out your art style and have just kind of started on this journey of creating, I've got a free guide It is how to find your art style in 3 simple steps. These are steps that I realized kind of after I figured out my style, kind of, reflecting and looking back, and it was like, oh man, it was right there in front of me this whole time, but yet I didn't know it. So I want to help you with your process, help shortcut it a bit, and share with you this guide that I created. So it's down below in the description box, but if you can't locate that, just leave the word guide down underneath in the comments, and I'll be happy to send you the link. Here I'm creating a yummy purple color, and that's where the ultramarine blue comes in. I love making greens. I've got two greens in jars. One is a darker green, one's a lighter green, but I gotta be honest with you, I just love mixing my own greens, like using the ultramarine blue or even using the phthalo turquoise to create greens. You'll find you're going to create some absolutely fantastic green colors. This particular piece that I'm working on here was part of a series of, I think, 6 of them that I did before I went to Croatia. So I just got back from Croatia last week. I spent 6 weeks overseas with my parents, taking care of them, taking care of the house, doing chores, things like that, visiting family, hanging out. And also, my daughter went with me on this trip. She hasn't been in 4 years, so I was excited that she was able to go with me. And we spent a week, well, not a week, 5 days in Rome, which was fantastic. I've never been to Rome, and I just love history of old buildings and architecture and the pace of life and the cafes, and we loved it there. And then we went back to Croatia, spent a few more weeks with my parents, and then on our way home, we stopped in Paris for 3 days. Now, I got to be honest with you, I wish that I had done 5 days in Paris and 3 in Rome. I loved Paris. There's something so magical and fantastic about Paris. So I've been chatting with my sister, and we're thinking about, like, we need like a month in Paris to really absorb it, to relax, to have some fun. There's so much to see. And with us being there for only 3 days, we really didn't see all that much. And I would like to go back and just kind of understand the culture a bit more. Not so much, I don't really want to do all the touristy stuff. I'm not a big touristy person. To be honest with you, when we were in Paris, we went to the Louvre, but I did not go in. I did not go inside and do the museum because the line was so long, there were so many people there, and I'm just turned off by that. But I love that I was able to see the outside of it and the buildings surrounding it and all of that. But I'm not one that, I don't need to go in and do all the touristy stuff. I really enjoy just getting the feel of the place and the culture of it. So that's what I would really like to do is I would love to spend a month there. I would love to bring my paints with me. I would love to teach a workshop there if I can. So if you guys know of anybody in Paris that has a workshop facility, get me hooked up because I would love to come out and teach. All right, so I did quite a bit here. I've kind of changed it up a bit. I had that one big circle and I wasn't liking that. And so I've come in with these other circles that are, 3 of them instead of just one. I've got 3 of them going. They're kind of longer and skinnier, which I've been doing lately. Not so much these, perfectly round circles, but kind of these elongated ones, again, representing my love for flowers. And here I'm coming in with a much lighter value. Something that I usually do a little bit later in the process, but here I've come in a bit earlier with it, which is, that's okay too. I think here I'm trying to go back to some of my warm colors. There we go, and add it to that upper area. I love using these palettes, and what they are is I've got a canvas panel underneath there. So it's a canvas panel that you can buy like at Michael's. You can create on them, but I had so many of them, I decided to wrap several of them in, it's either 4 mil, the number 4 mil, MIL plastic, or 6 mil. The mil describes the thickness of it, millimeters. So the 6 being a thicker one. Love using these when they get filled up, and I've got a couple of layers on them. Then I just peel them back, like this one I was able to peel back and start fresh again. And what's great about them is, I can just move them out of the way, or I can like use one panel for cool colors and one for warm colors. Anyway, going back to my trip, I had a fantastic time. I was so excited again that my daughter was able to join me. This is probably one of the last trips that she would be able to go for this long. Um, so I had to take advantage of it, and we were able to spend a lot of good quality time together. So before I left, I did create a number of pieces on wood panel like this one, and I had sold all of those. So this particular one I ended up naming Sunny Days. And like I said, all of them had already sold. If you're interested in purchasing some of my small pieces of art like this, you can join my email list. I'll leave a link in the description box below, or just leave the words join list and I can send you a link. When I was in Croatia, I created 17 small pieces, some of them on paper and some of them on canvas panel, like what I have underneath my palette there. And I brought those back with me, varnished them, and sent them out to my email list the other day, yesterday actually, or 2 days ago, and they all sold within an hour. So very excited to know that they all found new homes. So again, if you'd like to be on my email list, you'll get first dibs on these. I never post them to social media. They only go out to my email list. So leave the words join list in the comment below, or just look for it in the description box underneath this video. As I work through this, I'm trying to, create different marks, different sizes of marks. Here I've got some circles going on. So I want interest. I want a variety of different types of marks to add interest to the piece. If everything is the same, then it's nothing interesting going on, right? So you want some large elements and some smaller elements. You want some skinny lines and some thick lines, hard edges, soft edges. That variety is going to add a lot more interest than just trying to keep everything looking about the same. And I'd say the other important thing is looking at values, having a range of values. So not just having, colors out of the jar tend to be in the 5, 6, 7 range in terms of values on a scale of 1 to 10. So you want to bring in, you want to have a 1 in there, which is a really light value, and you want to have a 10 in there, which is a really dark value. Whether you use black or a dark blue or dark brown, something that's going to show that it's really a dark color, a dark area. Here you can see some of that black peeking through from the very first layer that I had. And then I did come in with some lighter values. It's not white, it's kind of got a greenish tint to it. I'm using a rigger here. I love using a rigger. It works great for making these kinds of marks, very skinny, tiny. You want to make sure that it's wet because your paint will move. You'll be able to get that paint onto the canvas or the wood panel that you're working on much easier if you dip it in water first.
I'm going to interrupt my own video to ask you if you could please give me a thumbs up. It really means a lot to me, and it helps other folks find my videos. And also, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it gives you an opportunity to find out when I have another video available. I'm excited to be here and build this community with you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's get back to the fun.
Here I'm thinking, trying to figure out what to do next. So I wanted to bring in a little bit of a lighter value at the bottom, but not to be the same. You know, that top area where it's really light in the middle, there the colors are very close to in they're very much similar colors. So I'm hoping that I'm on my phone trying to find the photo of the end piece, but I think I end up changing that a little bit because it's just too similar. Okay, I do end up changing that whole centerpiece. I just found my image of the final piece. So it still goes through quite a bit of transformation here. If you'd like to learn from me, I've got a variety of online courses, and recently I uploaded something a little bit different, which is 50 abstract art. Oh shoot, my brain just went dead. 50 abstract. I'm going to put on the screen here, but they are different oh, that's it, 50 art prompts. So different prompts, 50 of them. I go through a number of them with you to get you kind of started, and then you've got 50 of them that you can print, cut up into strips, and have on hand. I've heard from a lot of folks who have taken the course, and they love the freedom that it's giving them. When they're feeling a little bit stuck, they just pull out a few of these art prompts and they do that on their art piece or in an art journal, and it kind of helps get them moving forward again. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to leave the link down below, or you can just leave the word 50 and I can send you the link. It's only $7 and it'll be something that you're going to turn to over and over again when you're feeling a bit stuck and unsure where to go, or just want to do something different and fun. But I do have a number of other courses, and I've got one course that will take you through my process from start to finish, including mixing colors, making marks, loosening up, how to varnish, values. We do just a full exercise on creating a piece of art just using black and white, which is such a challenge to do, but it's so important to help us understand values in our paintings. So if you're interested in that, again, link down below, or leave the word learn, L-E-A-R-N, and I will send you the link to it. Because you're watching me here on YouTube, you will get a coupon code for 20% off. So look for that as well. Okay, so this was a different day. I came back and continued on. And as I mentioned, there's some more changes to be done here because that middle section that is a really light value and the marks up above are competing with each other. They're just too close. They're too close in proximity, and they're too close in values as well. All right, and that's the raw umber again to help harmonize. All right, loving this color. Warming things up a bit. It really helps when I walk away from a painting and it helps me see it better, especially if I take a photo of it and look at it like when I'm at home, look at it on my phone and see, kind of sneaking up on it and seeing, okay, as soon as I look at it, it's where my eye goes and helps me figure out where I need to, what I need to do next. And so I don't always finish paintings in one sitting, and I think that's so key because you need a little time away from it. Distance yourself, come back to it with fresh eyes. So see how much this has changed already. Now those marks at the top are standing out a lot more because it's no longer competing with all of the lighter values that were across the middle of it. Bringing back these circles a bit, they got lost. And that tends to happen as I build up the layers. I like to make them all a slightly different color just to, again, add some interest to it. In the past, I have done it in one single color and that works as well. Lately, I've just been in the mood to change up the color a bit. That was the other thing that happened here is I covered up so much of my original layer of black. Remember how much black I had at the beginning? Well, it all got kind of covered up. So I'm trying to bring some of that back. And I hate bringing it back late like this in the stages because to me then it looks too much like it's floating on top. But since I do have more work to do here, I'm going to be able to push some of it back again so that it's not, again, floating on top, looking like it's the last thing that I put on it. One of the things I like to do when I'm creating, not every painting is working, and this one I'm certainly kind of struggling through some of these middle sections, trying to, as I like to say, pull it together, and it's not being pulled together yet. But I keep going. I'm not giving up on it. I'm going to keep layering up. I'm going to keep working on it, figuring out, which colors are going to work together, which ones are going to complement each other. And I just keep going until I'm happy with it. And I think that's the beauty of building up layers, building up texture, is that, when it's not working for you, that's okay. It's going to look even better with another layer on top. Here I've got, I think, a toothpick or a nail. Sometimes I've got a nail handy to be able to scratch into. Yeah, that one's a nail. Nail works really great when I'm working on wood. All right, a couple of more colors, bringing these back in. And as I'm working towards, the end of the painting, I am kind of switching back and forth between warm colors and cool colors, depending on what area I'm working on that needs some help. There are times that I also get the heating tool out to dry the whole thing, just so I can continue working on it. So now that I'm back from Croatia, I am working on, I purchased some gesso board and also, oh, let me think of the other name, clay board. I ordered them from Blick. I'll be sharing those in one of my future videos, but I was looking for something, like I mentioned, when I was in Croatia, I was working on canvas board. Canvas board means that you've got that fabric, the canvas that you're working on. And I found it difficult to work on when I was working small because the grooves, the woven part of the canvas really stuck out a lot. And I really love a nice flat surface when I'm working smaller because I've got a smaller area to work on. So I was I kind of put out a call on social media saying, what do you use? I want something that's flat, but also nothing with sides on it because I love the canvas boards because you can pop them right into a frame without the glass. And I love that. So I wanted something that was flat, no sides to it. As much as I love creating on the sides, I'm trying to find something small that's easy to send out to folks as well. So someone suggested the gesso board and also the clay board. So I purchased gesso board and the clay board, and I'm going to be testing those out to see which one I like better, or maybe I like a combination of the two. So far, what I have noticed with the gesso board is that it's got some texture to it. Not quite the kind of texture that I like, so it kind of feels like canvas, but it's much more refined. So, I'm not sure about that one, but the clay board is smooth, like wood smooth, like Bristol paper smooth. So I'm excited about testing that one out. Let me know in the comments below if there is a certain kind of wood panel that you like to use that doesn't have sides on it, so it's flat and that can be popped into a regular frame. I would love for you to share. That way other folks can read what you put, what you like to use. All right, so we're getting close to the end. I didn't realize that I was slightly off frame here. On occasion, I look up to see where my art piece is, and then I make an adjustment. And obviously, I haven't looked up. I've been engrossed in trying to bring this piece to completion. All right, so that purple wasn't working, but that's okay. We're going to just let a little bit of it show through. Like I said, it's just going to build up some more texture, some more interest. And building up texture and interest, part of it is things that I have done that I learned on accident. Like I'll do something and it looks horrible and I made a mistake, but it turns out it really wasn't a mistake because when I put something over it, it was even better. So don't be afraid to put down some colors and play around and see what works and what doesn't work. All right, putting things away, and hopefully I'll bring this into view, full view for you. There we go, a quick look at the sides. I'm just checking everything to see if I'm happy with it. And I'm pointing something out there, so maybe I'm not 100% happy. Okay, I'm back again. I think it's the same day, but I let it dry, so okay. So I'm pointing to that area there, and it looks like I may want to just put another layer down. Let's see what I do there. I'm going to lighten it a bit, add some white to it. I think I'm trying to be close to that, but I believe that and bringing back that raw umber again, I believe that whole middle section, the values are too similar. So I wanted to come in with a lighter value, but not the same color as those marks that I have in the upper right. And scratching right through that so that we can see some of those darker areas underneath. that white has really dried out. Time to refill that whole jar. I've got some larger jars of white because I use a lot of white. There we go. We'll just fill it up. I love these squeeze bottles, especially when I'm working on larger pieces. But you know, it does dry out, so you've got to remove some of that dry. But it's much easier than always working out of a jar. If you're interested in these squeeze bottles, they're called FIFO, first in, first out. And I've got a link down below to my favorite art supplies. So look for that, or just leave the words favorite art supplies, and I'll be happy to send you my link. Okay, I think we're just about done here. I'm going to bring in my final mark making, and this part of it is more about being very intentional about my mark making. And you know, I don't come in and I don't do a whole bunch of just blindly scribbling through. This is more the icing on the cake. And I want to make sure that I get every side too. So I'm doing something on each one of the sides with this pencil. And then when I switch to a crayon or something like that, I try to get it on each side as well. This one here is a Stabilo Woody. And again, all this, everything I'm using here at the very end are in my favorite art supplies. So again, just leave the words, you know, ask for my favorite art supplies. I'll send you that link. Now, the thing I love about these woodies, they're very creamy. They're a crayon, and you can make marks on it like I just did, or you can just fill in an area. And I like smudging it a bit with my finger because it looks more like it was painted as opposed to, you know, kind of looking like I actually put a crayon down. But I like doing a variety. So again, I don't always smudge it. Sometimes I want you to see that it's a crayon mark. This one here is a Prismacolor pencil. I love these pencils. They are very vibrant. The colors are gorgeous. I love the neutral on that bottom side. Right there where I'm making some marks. Okay, another Prismacolor pencil. And here I'm just filling in, I had some red, but I'm just making it a little bit darker. I don't really want to come in here and change the composition with these final marks. I'm just enhancing what I've got. Here, just smudging in some of that Stabilo Woody. Going over some other areas. And there comes a point where, you know, there's a lot going on here, so I don't want to overdo it. Now here I am doing some scribbles, but they are intentional scribbles. And I'm ready to sign it. All right, I have slowed down the video for you so that you can see all of it up close. Here, now you can see some of those final marks that I made, like those green ones there, and the orange marks. And you can also see how I scratched into that wet paint in that kind of brownish area there. There's my signature. I like to sign in pencil because sometimes I mess up my signature, and it's an easy way to just erase it and start again. Here are the sides, which I absolutely love. Now I will varnish this, so there will be a spray fixative first and then I varnish. I'll put a link up above here so that you can check out that video. Oh, I really do love the bottom. Too bad it's on the bottom, right? It should have been on the side. All right, so that is sunny days. I've got some photos for you as well. There we go. If you are still here with me and you've stuck around to the end, please leave me a heart. I so appreciate you being here, and it just lets me know that you watched all the way to the end. All right, you can subscribe here and check out some more of my videos, and I certainly hope to see you in the next one. Wishing you a super fabulous and creative day. Take care.